I'm Jenna Browder. Coming up on Faith Nation, hundreds are missing after the deadliest wildfire in California history. Plus, a temporary blow to the Trump administration after a federal lawsuit over media access to the White House. But first, our exclusive interview with the first woman to join the GOP leadership in the Senate in nearly a decade. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa spoke earlier today with CBN News congressional correspondent Abigail Robertson.
That's right. I spoke earlier with Senator Ernst about the historic nature of her new Senate Republican leadership role, and she seems very excited. Take a look at what she said. You were just elected as the only woman to Senate Republican leadership. How does that feel, and why do you think it's important to have a woman in one of the leadership roles?
Well, it is very important. It's exciting first. It is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to serve the conference. And of course, I'm from Iowa, so to take Iowans' voices onto the leadership team is really important too. But we have a lot to work on in communicating clearly, and that's why I think it's important that we do have a woman serving in this elected leadership position. We need to be reflective of our constituencies, and having all males on the leadership team is not reflective of our society. So I'm excited to be there and be a communication messenger for our team, and look forward to the challenges.
Senator Ernst is the first female elected to serve on the Senate Republican leadership team since Senator Lisa Murkowski in 2009, while Senate Democrats have pretty consistently kept at least one woman in their Senate leadership. Now, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has faced many questions about not having a woman represented recently, and his response to that is that they have to run, and not just for leadership positions, but also for office. They have only 6 female Republican senators in office right now, compared to 17 Democratic female senators. But we definitely saw more women on both sides of the aisle step up to run this year in the midterms.
That is for sure. All right. Thank you, Abigail. Great interview.
Thank you.
Great interview. Well, David Brody, our chief political analyst, joins us now. David, Joni Ernst made some pretty provocative comments there. Yeah, calling out the GOP and kind of challenging the status quo.
Very much so. I think that's going to make some headlines. Abigail, by the way, talking about basically all male leadership, in essence, paraphrasing here, but that's a problem for the Republican Party. And she's right. And also just talking about how women just really haven't been represented, and they have to do a better job of communicating the message. She wasn't talking about Democrats. She was specifically talking about the Republican Party, and that's what I thought was very, very interesting about it.
Yeah, and Abigail, one thing that I know you all touched on were suburban women. They played a huge role in these elections.
Yeah, I talked a lot about that with Senator Ernst, and she told me that Republicans need to improve their communication with women. We also talked about President Trump and his relationship with Senate Republicans right now, and what she thinks about Jeff Sessions' resignation. So have a look at more of our conversation. When you look at the results nationwide and how a lot of independents actually broke for Democrats in some of these close House races, are you worried at all that Republicans are losing the support of suburban women?
Well, that was one of my great pushes when I ran for leadership as well, is that we do have to communicate clearly to our constituents, and suburban moms and women everywhere, whether they are in suburbia, whether they are in the rural areas, they want to know that we have a strong economy. They want to know that that we are placing our education priorities in the states and with the local school boards and administrators and parents. They want to know those things. We need to do a better job of communicating them. So that's why I'm excited to have the opportunity to be able to express to those moms, to those wives, to those sisters, what is important to them and why it matters that they support Republicans.
How would you describe Senate Republicans' relationship with President Trump in the White House?
Well, I get along quite well with the president, and while I don't always agree with the president, I always respect our president. He has a very difficult job, and so I think that's the challenge that many Republicans see, is that sometimes he may differ a little bit on the issues. okay, that's all right. How do we come together and work on those priorities for the president? I think it's really important that we are supporting him and his agenda to make sure he is fulfilling his commitment to the American people. He's been quite clear about that. So it's time for us to step up and find a way forward, collaborate with the president and the White House, and make sure that we're achieving his goals.
What do you think of Jeff Sessions' resignation and the new acting Attorney General, Matt Whitaker?
I have known Matt Whitaker for many, many years. He is a fellow Iowan. He has served as a district attorney in the state of Iowa, and I know him to be a man of integrity. I know him to be a man that will uphold the law. So I think that it was a great selection to have Matt Whitaker as the acting Attorney General. I admire Jeff Sessions very much. I admire him, and I think he did a great job for our president. But it is up now to the president to make that decision on who should be a permanent replacement for Jeff Sessions. And we will, as the Senate, provide advice and consent, and we'll do the best we can.
What role do you think faith plays in politics and the lives of politicians?
I think it plays a very, very important part. Those of us that truly are faith-based understand that the decisions we make need to be reflective of our value system. And my value system is that of a Christian woman serving in the United States Senate. And so it helps us discern between what is the right direction for the people we represent and maybe what is not a strong position to take for the people that we represent. I think it plays a very important part of our everyday lives, and that should always translate then into the work that we do in Congress.
Senator Ernst and I also discussed how this was a historic election year for women. There will be more than 100 women serving in the House, and that's the highest number ever. And Arizona and Tennessee elected their first female senators, with South Dakota and Iowa electing their first female governors. So more women than ever are stepping up and ready to serve in public office.